Tokyo Xtreme Racer 2025 released in early access a day prior to me recording this on January 23rd. And I bought it. I haven't bought a video game on launch day or release day. I know it's early access, but technically it counts. In a few years, the last time I did it was with Need for Speed Heat back in 2019, and it just seemed interesting to me. I bought the game because I wanted to try it out, and I played it a little bit. What you're seeing on the screen is the first 15 minutes-ish of gameplay, and I wanted to relay my first impressions to you. You might be wondering what qualifies me to give you first impressions on this cult classic franchise, and the answer is nothing. But that's also kind of the point, because I wanted to give a different perspective than what you might have seen on the internet so far, because, well, I haven't really seen a lot of the other videos praising Tokyo Xtreme Racer. I think that a lot of those videos are made by either fans of the series, like die-hard fans that feel a lot of nostalgia towards Tokyo Xtreme Racer, or the people that are tired of the current arcade racing game space and really wanted something new. And also just to bash on Need for Speed just for the sake of it, but we're not going to get into that now. I am neither of those things. I am not tired of the current racing game scope. I made a video recently talking about how much I love Need for Speed Unbound and why I think it's the best modern Need for Speed game, and I also feel absolutely no nostalgia towards Tokyo Xtreme Racer. I have played them a little bit. I've played Tokyo Xtreme Racer 3, I think, more than any of the others. I made a couple of videos on it on the channel way back when. Don't go watching those videos, they're not particularly high quality. I've played Tokyo Xtreme Racer on the Dreamcast, a Dreamcast emulator, let's be real, a little bit, and I've played Drift 2. I tried to get into Drift 2 a really long time ago. And finally, Import Tuner Challenge on the Xbox 360. And here's the important thing you need to know. A lot of those games, well, in the case of Xtreme Racer 3, that was played purely for content. I downloaded a 100% save file so I can build a car and then drive it around, and I had a really tough time with the physics. I remember being quite harsh towards them, actually. And the same applied to the other games as well. I downloaded Tokyo Xtreme Racer 0 just to give it a try, and again, 100% save file, and I just customized the car really quickly and drove it for like a little bit. And Import Tuner Challenge, even though I played that game a lot, I can remember doing maybe 10 minutes total of actually driving and racing. Most of it was, again, customizing cars, because Import Tuner Challenge and the rest of the Tokyo Xtreme Racer series really nails the whole Japanese style of customizing cars with, you know, the real manufacturers of parts and popular alloy wheels in Japan and that kind of thing. So I decided that maybe I should give a slightly different perspective on the new Tokyo Xtreme Racer, given that a lot of people might also not be die-hard nostalgic feeling fans of the series. So I'm just going to give a first impressions on Tokyo Xtreme Racer 2025 purely as a racing game fan, a racing game player, and somebody who is aware of the series and likes it, but isn't so nostalgic towards it. And really, the title of the video says it all. It's a very charming and somewhat refreshing arcade racing game. First thing we need to note about Tokyo Xtreme Racer is the fact that it exists at all. We are kind of used to not getting old, dormant racing game franchises sort of making a comeback. We all know about Midnight Club and Project Gotham Racing and Blur and Split Second, Burnout, of course. So this is something new for all of us, because the racing game space, the arcade racing game space, has been dominated by the same three franchises for years. So the fact that Tokyo Xtreme Racer exists at all and that Genki decided to revive this dormant franchise is fantastic news in and of itself. But why is Tokyo Xtreme Racer so refreshing? Well, because it's not burdened with a lot of the things that modern racing games are burdened with. Maybe burdened is not the correct term to use here. Maybe it's more like a feature set. So modern racing games, as we all know, they have to live up to certain sometimes unrealistic expectations, and they have to be open world, and they have to contain some type of police chase, even when the vehicles giving chase are not necessarily called police cars. And they have to have this progression loop and that progression loop, and they have to have this car and that car, and all of these things that have to live up to certain expectations of the community, but then when they do, they don't live up to other expectations and things like that. Tokyo Xtreme Racer is none of those things. It's a simpler, more back-to-basics racing game. Firstly, evident in the fact that it's not an open-world game. I mean, technically, you do have free reign to explore the Japanese highways, which are the central point of the game, but you can't exactly enter Japanese cities and explore them. you're confined to the highway network. And there's also the fact that Tokyo Xtreme Racer doesn't do conventional racing. The premise of the game is exactly the same. You climb the ranks of the street racing community that races on the highways of Japan. You approach a rival racer, you flash your headlights, and you have to move away from them as far as possible to empty their SP bar. I think that was their spirit points bar. I'm pretty sure that's what that abbreviation meant. It has to drain out, and then you win, and you get to climb the ranks, earn money, unlock new cars. Sorry, I meant to say CP, credit points, or as I called them back in my Tokyo Xtreme Racer 3 video, cyberpunk points. I checked, there's still no Judy. And that's the whole premise of the game. And because I had previously played Tokyo Xtreme Racer only with 100% save files, not really understanding how the gameplay loop works entirely, I found it fascinating that yes, you do have to challenge rival racers, but you can actually challenge anyone you see on the highway, including flatbed tow trucks and taxicabs. Somebody in the Discord server that I'm in mentioned that people are loving this game because it's not very bloated and it's not full of all of these things that we've grown used to in the arcade racing game space. And in my opinion, it works with Tokyo Xtreme Racer in this case, this whole phenomenon. It's more casual, it's more laid back, it's not, taking itself so seriously. It's just a fun highway racer that just happens to include a whole bunch of licensed cars and licensed customization. As before, Tokyo Xtreme Racer offers a huge amount of customization with a bunch of licensed and non-licensed parts made by Genki. And another thing that Tokyo Xtreme Racer nails is progression, because not only are the starter cars in the game not inherently hot hatchbacks or supercars, your choice is the Toyota Levin, the Mazda Miata, and the Suzuki Swift Sport, which I've selected here because I am a massive fan of the Suzuki Swift Sport. Not only are the faster cars in the game not unlocked immediately, you can't even see them yet. And I had to ask my friends in the Discord server if this is an early access thing or is it a progression thing, and they told me it's a progression thing. And this is something I speak about a lot with my friends about racing games. We kind of get everything handed to us on a platter, and it's an enjoyable experience to work towards the faster, more powerful cars in the game, but also we're not able to see them first, so the game motivates us to play through it. And also, Tokyo Xtreme Racer 2025 just oozes charm from every angle. I love it when the loading screens, and this is a thing in a lot of Japanese video games, the loading screens say, "now loading," and that's always been such a fun little quirk for me, and I'm so glad to see it here again. It just oozes charm. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's no voice acting or massive overarching plot or character arc to follow. You're just a street racer on Japan's network of highways looking to make a name for themselves. And it's fascinating. And it's also very familiar. It'll definitely be familiar to those who have played the older games because the gameplay loop is identical, and unfortunately for me, so are the physics. And I still don't quite understand them, but the driving does feel good, so I'll give it that much. Now, of course, Tokyo Xtreme Racer is in early access right now, so there are a bunch of things that probably are not available yet. Again, I've only played 15 minutes of this game because I'm recording this voiceover in the middle of a very busy week, and I was just able to find a little bit of time to capture this footage and give the game a try. But I'm definitely curious to see how it progresses and what else can be done in the early access version before the full game drops. But overall, as somebody who is not a huge fan of Tokyo Xtreme Racer, somebody who feels no nostalgia about it whatsoever, and somebody who is not tired of the current arcade racing game space, even I'll admit that Tokyo Xtreme Racer, as well as being charming and so far very well put together and very polished, it's also very refreshing because we haven't had a more scaled back kind of unbloated racing game like this in a very long time. So I'll definitely be playing more of Tokyo Xtreme Racer, and I hope this really works out for Genki because they have a fantastic formula on their hands right now. And that's going to be about it for this video, everybody. Let me know what you think of Tokyo Xtreme Racer in the comments below and whether or not you've played it. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow along with the community tab on the channel for upcoming videos, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.